What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And I'm back in my garage today with my 2003 Ford Focus SVT and going to be doing a thermostat housing on it. This is going to be actually my third thermostat housing on this car. These Ford Focuses are known to have thermostat housing issues, and I'm going to do a permanent fix. So hopefully this will be the last time I have to change it on this car. Okay, so taking a look under the hood here, there's my thermostat housing that I replaced about a year ago. And take a closer look, you can see it's wet underneath on my transmission. It just drips. It's fine when it's running, it's not leaking. It only drips when it sits overnight and there's pressure in the system. So I got it jacked up right now and I'll show you underneath where it's dripping from. Okay, so taking a look underneath the vehicle, you can see I clearly have a leak leaking down the transmission here. And if you look up here, you can see that silver plug there. That's at the bottom of the thermostat there. That's just a clip-in plug with an O-ring that develops a leak over time. So I'm going to permanently fix that, and I'll show you how really quick. Alright, so let's just take a quick look at our new parts before we get started. This is going to be your new housing. This is actually for a 2000 Ford Contour 2.0, but it's pretty much identical to the Ford Focus one, except this is all one piece instead of a couple pieces here that are molded together, which I'll show you once we get the old one out. And it seems to be made of a higher quality plastic than what the Focus used. I don't know why, but hopefully it holds up better. And if we flip it over here, you can see the temperature sending unit is going to be threaded in instead of the push-in style with the clip that holds it on. And this is our new temperature sending unit. And as you can see, it's threaded with an O-ring instead. And if I flip this over, here's where the plug went on mine that's leaking right now. But as you can see, this one's threaded instead of the push-in with the clip. So I went by Home Depot, got this brass plug to fit that. So I'm going to put some thread tape or thread sealer on that and stick this in that hole, and hopefully that cures the leaking problem. And then I also got these 4 bolts. They come in a pack of 4. That's what those look like, but you only need 3 of them. And that's going to be for this water outlet, which is going to go on here, which you'll use those 3 bolts for on this. And then your thermostat goes in here, and I'm going to reuse my old thermostat since, like I said, it's only a year old, if that. But I did get a new thermostat gasket, which goes around the thermostat. And my Ford dealer was out on the water outlet and the thermostat gasket. They were on back order, they told me. So I had to settle for O'Reilly's, which is where I got that and this from. I'm taking a trip to Kansas City in a week, so I needed the car up and running. And there's the thermostat housing part number. But at the end, check out the description, and I'll put all the Motorcraft part numbers in for you. That way you can get all Motorcraft. Alright, so I'm going to go down below and drain some of the coolant out. But first you want to open your reservoir here. Just pull that cap off so we can get some air in there. Okay, and then underneath your driver's side, locate your radiator and then your drain plug for your radiator. And get yourself a drip pan and just use a flathead, unscrew this. And I'm just going to do a steady drain like that. Like I said, this coolant's only a year old, so I'm not going to drain the whole thing out, just maybe half of it. So I'll let this drain and then come back down and put it back in there. All right, so with that draining down below, I'm gonna go ahead and move this battery and the battery tray. Now you guys don't have to do this. You got plenty of room to get in there. I'm just gonna do it to give me a little more room and show you guys exactly what I'm doing. All right, so I think that's plenty just for removing the thermostat housing. So go ahead and tighten that back up. Then you can start undoing all your hoses. This one's going to be a 1/4 inch, and the rest of them are going to be a 5/16 or an 8mm. Once you get your hoses off, we'll undo the 3 bolts holding the thermostat housing to the block. Those are all going to be 10mm. And then we'll go ahead and pull it off. Alright, so comparing the new one to the old one, you can see they're pretty similar. Except the old one uses these, like, I don't know, steel dowels or whatever they call them. Whereas the new one only has the one. But you can see the bolt fits through them just fine, so that shouldn't be a problem. You can see the old one, temperature sending unit, uses that clip-in style. And if we flip this over, you can see that's where mine was leaking, this stupid plug they use. And let me just pull this out and I'll show you. Pull this plug out. But as you can see, that's why mine was leaking. Like I said, this was only a year ago that I replaced this, and there was a new O-ring on here. And it looks like this O-ring is just gone and melted or something. So, but Ford discontinued making these plugs, so you can't get these plugs anymore. I suppose you can find an O-ring for it, but this is why I'm going this route with this new thermostat housing. And so if we pull this off, I'll be able to get to my thermostat. And these screws here are going to be Torx 25, which if you buy a new thermostat you won't have to do this, but like I said, I'm reusing mine. And that comes off, and then there's your thermostat, which you can just pull out of there. And like I said, I'm going to reuse this. And then I got my new gasket that goes around here. Alright, so you want to grab your new thermostat gasket and put this on your thermostat, which it just fits right in there, just like that. Grab your new housing, and this is going to be the top. You can see that little indentation in there, and that's where this hole's going to go, because you can see on the back side that it has that right there. So that's going to fit in there just like that. And then you grab your new water outlet. That's going to fit on there like that. Grab our new screws or bolts. And just make sure that's right. And then go ahead and put these in. And all three of these are just going to be at 8mm. Alright, and then you go ahead and take your new brass plug and put a little Teflon tape or thread tape around this. And then we'll go ahead and put this in. And then I got just a little 12-point 11/32 wrench, or you can use a crescent wrench, and we'll go ahead and tighten this. And that won't go all the way in, just enough few threads. You should be good on that. And then go ahead and take your new temperature sending unit, and I'm not going to use thread tape on this since it has that O-ring, so we should be good. You can screw that in to the top here, and then you can use a 3/4 or a 19mm to screw this in the rest of the way. Alright, and one more thing, just double check, make sure everything's tight, everything looks good, and this gasket's in good shape, because this has been known to fail too as well. And then our new thermostat's in there, so we should be good to go. And I just want to show you guys, I forgot to mention, you can see on this old one, this is what I was talking about earlier, about how this is, you can see it's like two pieces here molded together, as where this contour one, it's all one piece instead of that molded together. And I've seen where these have failed as well. So alright, let's go ahead and stick this back in. Alright, so before you put your new housing on, you want to make sure this area is nice and clean and flat, the matting surface. So I'm just going to take a little piece of sandpaper, emery cloth, or Scotch-Brite pad you could use, and just rub around here just to make sure you get this all nice and smooth. Okay, once you get that smooth, you can just take a, I'm just going to use some brake clean and spray it on my rag here. And then just wipe that down really good so it's nice and clean. Alright, so let's go ahead and put our new housing in. Grab your 10mm bolts. Alright, so I'm going to do a final torque on this. Now the contour one says to do 78 inch-pounds, and for the focus it's 15 foot-pounds. So I don't know, 78 inch-pounds seems like nothing to get that gasket to seat against the block. So I'm gonna go somewhat in the middle. I'm just gonna do 12 foot-pounds and see if that works, and hopefully I don't have any leaks. Now we go ahead and start connecting all of our hoses. I'm going to start out with that back one first. And then take your connector for your temperature sending unit. Stick that on. Alright, so I'll go ahead and put my battery tub back in here. Okay, then double check underneath. Make sure your drain plug's tight on your radiator. And we should be ready to fill. Alright, so we can go ahead and start filling. And I'm using the Xerox Geo5 Gold formula. 50-50 mixed with some distilled water. So we can go ahead and start filling. Then you go ahead and squeeze on your top radiator hose. Try to get some of that air out. Alright, so now I'll go ahead and start it and turn my heat on and my defrost on and try to get some of the air bubbles out and see if we need to add any more coolant. Alright, so as you can see, I let it run for a while, and we are still at the full mark. And then inside you can see we are at normal operating temperature. And come over here, you can see our oil temp is just about at normal. So I'm going to go ahead and take this for a test drive, just to make sure that thermostat opens up all the way, and then we'll come back and check for leaks. Alright, so I just got back from my test drive. As you can see, I used a little bit of coolant, but I'm going to let this cool overnight, and then I'll check that when it's cold in the morning and see if I need to add any. And then just taking a look here at the new thermostat housing, and as you can see, everything looks good. Everything's dry. And see if I can zoom in here. You can see that brass plug that I put in, and it looks good. Alright, so that's going to be it on the video today. Again, this was my 2003 Ford Focus SVT, and I replaced the thermostat housing, which is a common problem on these cars, and I swapped it out with a Ford Contour thermostat housing. So hopefully this will be a permanent fix for my car. And again, if you guys haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time. Thanks.